A local financial institution is aiming high. On the front page centerpiece this week, how to build a bigger bank. 1 year after a transformational acquisition, First Financial Bancorp aims to become a household name in Greater Cincinnati. If it's possible for one of the nation's oldest banks to suddenly arrive on the scene, that's what First Financial Bancorp did a year ago, led by CEO Archie Brown. That's when the downtown Cincinnati-based bank acquired Greensburg, Indiana-based Main Source Financial Group. The acquisition dramatically increased the size of First Financial, which has been in the region for 155 years, but had never made a huge mark on the local banking industry. But now First Financial is ready to make a local splash in the wake of the Main Source acquisition. A local banking veteran says First Financial's profile has increased dramatically, thanks in part to a sponsorship deal that makes it the official bank of FC Cincinnati. Business Courier reporter Steve Watkins covers banking and sports business. He took a deep dive into the story and joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio with more. Steve and Kelly.
Thanks, Peg. Steve, thanks for being here this morning.
Glad to do it.
So why did this acquisition make such a big difference for First Financial?
Well, obviously the size is a big key to the whole deal, and First Financial went from $9 billion in assets to $15 billion, so they grew by more than 50%. And actually, jumping over that $10 billion barrier is a big deal too, because there's a lot more regulation and costs. So it helps to go way over the $10 billion mark, and they did. So that helped them. More importantly, locally, their deposit share of the local banking market jumped from 6th in the market to 4th. So they jumped over a couple of the big banks in this market, and they're really among the big players now. So it's a big deal to them in a couple of ways.
And oftentimes these acquisitions do not go well. How did this one go? How did they get it right?
That's true. A lot of them sound great at the beginning. Once they get into all the details and try to merge two cultures, doesn't always work that well. With this one, at least so far, the analysts say it has, certainly the bankers say it has, worked very well. And there are a couple of reasons for that. A lot of it goes back to Archie Brown, the CEO then of Main Source, and Claude Davis, who was the CEO of First Financial. He's now the chairman. They worked together very closely, very well. They knew each other before, and as Claude mentioned to me, they both went into it without any personal agendas. There were no egos involved, and everybody looked at it from the standpoint of, we're going to make this work for the best for both banks, and they knew the cultures matched pretty well to begin with. So that made a big difference, and it trickles down from the top.
Yeah. So now that they have completed this, how will First Financial raise its profile in the market?
That's the big thing for them now, is they've got this size. One of the big things is this FC Cincinnati sponsorship. That's going to get them a lot of exposure at games. At Nippert Stadium right now, they have ATMs. At the new stadium, they'll have ATMs plus a gate named after them, and they're getting a lot of advertising exposure. A couple other things. Archie Brown, the CEO, is chairing the United Way campaign. That's a lot of exposure. He's joined boards like 3CD. He encourages people at the bank. He even gives them time off to volunteer in the community. That raises their profile. And also the 4th and Vine branch that they're opening is a very high-profile location downtown. They're putting a lot of customer-facing people in that location. So that's going to give them a lot of exposure in the middle of downtown as well.
All right. Thanks, Steve. I'm sure you'll continue to watch this, as will analysts. So thanks for being here.